And we're live.
It's been a while since we had Radio Jerod.
I really don't think Radio Jerod would ever get picked up in the world of, Clear Channel, Cox Communications.
Yeah, but I think about it a lot in terms of the energy level. I'll use my I statements that I bring to this podcast and the contrast between, a Sonny of the Home Alones and a Conan O'Brien or something like that. I'm no Pete Holmes, is what I'm saying.
I would say that Pete Holmes is no Sonny Harding.
Yeah. No, he's great. Speaking of Petey.
Petey Pants.
Did you happen to hear him talk about Christmas movies with Mike Birbiglia? They did like a special episode together trying to settle on a top 5 Christmas movies conversation.
I did not see that, and I feel like I need to see that so that we can discuss it in a more informed manner.
Of course, they brought up Home Alone as a contender, and they didn't praise it as the most perfect movie of all time. So I immediately seethed, but continued listening. Didn't throw the podcast out the window.
I'm a little disappointed in Pete, but more so because I thought better of Birbigs.
They had some interesting takes about...
Like wrong ones?
Here's something that I really agreed with Pete Holmes, is that Die Hard's not on the list of best Christmas movies. If you want to call it a Christmas movie, fine, but everyone at this point culturally knows that you're doing a bit, and the bit is over now. That's not a hot, clever take anymore.
That's such a Pete Holmesism, is the being contrarian to the contrarian. Like, you're just being a stickler for what is normal.
I think you and I both have a little bit of that energy to us too, though, which is probably why we both like Pete Holmes.
Oh, yeah. I'm always going to point out the things that I don't like about myself. So when did they do this episode? Around 4th of July?
This was just a few weeks ago. Pete Holmes was in some sort of new Christmas movie, so they were promoting that.
Was that number 1 on the list?
His own movie? No, I don't believe so. Yeah, but they have a good talk about some good Christmas movies. But again, they didn't stop everything when Home Alone came up to just make it number 1.
Why does the phrase "looking it up" use the direction up? Because I was in my mind while you were absent thinking, oh, is he looking this up? But then I started thinking about the phrase "looking up" something.
Here's something I don't have to look up because my little brother is obsessed with this character. Jerod, what do you know about Herbie the Love Bug?
Not much. I know that there was a remake, not recently, but in, I guess, the 2000s maybe?
Yeah.
But I only saw the, I want to say, original 2 movies.
Do you know what number Herbie was? What number is on the side of his car?
I believe it is 53.
That's right.
I was excited about where you were going with that, and then it ended up somewhere totally different.
I'm going bananas. I'm going to Monte Carlo. I forget where else. I'm going Fully Loaded.
Bananas. What happens in the 53rd minute of Herbie the Love Bug?
Welcome to the Herbie Minute. Can we pivot and talk about Home Alone instead? It's my passion.
I'll allow it.
Thank you. In the 53rd minute of Home Alone, my friend, Kevin goes shopping.
Kevin's. They be shopping.
Kevin's be shopping. We get the Drifter song sort of overlapping the scene as it fades out, right? Anyway, Kevin shops. He goes to check out. Sally gives him some weird looks, but then starts scanning, and that's about as far as we got. We got Kevin engaging in some adult behavior of grocery shopping.
It's a pretty well placed minute in that the beginning of it starts pretty much with the scene.
Yeah. This one starts like almost right at that minute mark.
And the end of it ends right after a moderately funny line.
For the kids?
That's the one.
I think it's a very funny line. He is a kid. Don't you get it, Jerod?
But he's the grown-up. He's shopping.
What's great about that moment is that Sally has the audacity to hold up the army man to question this kid's purchase.
She has a puzzled look and a furrowed brow and
like
says,
you really need these?
For the kids. It's a great reversal. Stuff. Like he's putting her at ease, right? She's talking about so much with just a look.
Mm-hmm.
And in a classic Home Alone switcheroo, the child is the one comforting the adult.
That's the whole movie. Well, I guess let's back up a little bit. The first shot is
or a whole lot of it.
Or let's go to
back
the beginning of the that first sort of wide shot of him turning the corner of the grocery aisle. There's one or two background people shopping around him. That's a good shot, especially cutting from the previous scene of Axel scurrying off from the bathroom.
It's good because of a few things. I think, like you say, it's a good contrast to a very tight, small space shot to this wide open view of what I'd have to say is a pretty wide aisle, actually.
Shopping's a pleasure there, wherever we are. I wonder if I wonder how aisle size has diminished over time.
It'd be interesting to look at because just anecdotally, I know, having looked at some historical numbers of SKU counts for various stores, they've tripled or quadrupled, which means that they've got to put those things somewhere.
We've got like 20 to 40 different flavors of Oreos now. So like, what else are you going to do?
I feel like that was the bit that Idiocracy didn't quite touch on, which is the point in the future when we have an Oreo aisle.
Yeah, this is, we're not at Aldi where there's like one brand of bacon and that's all you got. I'm going to copy and paste this article called The Evolution of Grocery Store Layouts from Aisles to Experience Zones. I'll put it in the show notes for us to peruse later.
I'm excited to read it with everyone.
We'll do a bonus episode of the nonfiction article book club facilitated by the Home Alones.
We can call it the Article Club and say it's the ACs later.
You get it. You know what's going on. I don't know if this is your favorite detail of this particular shot, but in the back corner of the grocery store, the door to like the refrigerated like back area,
it's wrapped.
Is gift wrapped.
I hadn't seen anything like that until a few years ago. So rewatching this and saying that felt anachronistic because I was like, were they doing that back then? I suppose so.
It's a great touch. I almost forgot that it was Christmas time.
Not in this aisle.
Well, and another thing that I appreciate about this scene, this location, and Chris Columbus talks about it a little bit in the commentary, in that there's not a lot of like paid for product placement here, but these are all real brands that he's interacting with, that he's buying, that he's walking past on the shelves and stuff. And like, remember the fake cereals that would be like on the shelves, like on an episode of Seinfeld or something?
Right.
Like those take you out of the experience because they're just so phony.
Right.
So you've got to use Kraft and Snuggle and all these things.
Five Alive.
Yeah. And it also, that was like a nice little flashback to all these brands and products that like I only vaguely remember being a reality in my life. And some of them are probably Illinois regional to a grocery store.
I like that because you're absolutely right. Anytime I see that coffee cup that's got the blue design on it and the white lid that every show has, I lose dialogue for like 3 minutes because I was just thinking about that. I'm like, oh, wait, I was watching something. Or I hear the Wilhelm scream.
Yeah. When you start seeing the seams of movie magic, and they're nowhere more noticeable than when they're trying to pretend that cheese O's is like a real snack food or whatever it is, Like, just put some Cheetos in there. It's fine.
There's no such thing as crunch taters.
That one, maybe as a child, and maybe I did think was, I never saw crunch taters until last month.
What a joy.
Yeah.
But you and Chris are right. It takes you out of it. And even though they probably didn't do all the product placement and get the payment that they should have, seeing Kraft and Tropicana and all of that, you don't even notice it. It just is the scene.
Mm-hmm. The telling detail that I noticed on, this, my 400th watch of this movie, is that in the shopping cart, like the little seat breaker thing, the thing that, like, the flap that you fold down if you have a kid in there, like, it's got advertisements on it, and they're like real Winnetka businesses. They just grabbed a shopping cart from the grocery store and said, let her rip. Those are some real phone numbers on there.
Yeah, which is great.
Yeah, there's no 555s. It's just real companies that we could call today.
Yeah, it's 441s. It doesn't even have area codes. So to call those numbers now, I don't know what the area code in Winnetka is, but you would have to use those.
Yeah, I liked that.
I love it because when I see a 555, I'm immediately just like, ugh.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest one, right? That's probably the biggest offender of that idea of taking you out of a movie. Just use a real number. Let somebody get some phone calls. Who cares?
Or just have Marv talk over it.
That was a good move.
Yes.
Hey, Harry. Yeah. Nice.
There's a lot of that little shavings of talent that you discover on these sorts of looks back.
It's fun when it holds up to scrutiny, because so much of this podcast can be us comic book guying our way through some flubs and blunders and anachronisms and stuff. But when you look at it with as a discerning guy as you can, whether you remember what time Kevin went to bed or not, and it all just kind of works, it's really impressive. I was so sure that I could catch like a continuity error of Sally, like, checking out all these items. The tide's already there when it shouldn't be yet or something like that, but it's all right. Somebody was doing their job.
It helps to combat that inner voice that naively says, oh, I could make this.
Yes. You can't make Home Alone.
Which I think is very much in line with the way you framed it as the comic book guy thing of trying to pick something apart. But you're never going to have a hater that is more successful than you.
If I have one quibble about this minute, do you have any quibbles?
It's
please
very small.
I'll give you the first quib.
Oh, Q1. It's an in-universe quibble.
Okay. An IUQ.
It's the person who is indecisive in their soda selection because in their cart they have both Diet RC and Diet Coke.
You and your spouse don't have two different beverage preferences? You guys are both drinking powdered Gatorade?
There are a few ways to slice it.
Wait, they bought Slice?
Remember when you could get Slice at the Taco Bell fountain? It's one thing if I drink brisk tea and she drinks Fanta lemon, but Diet Cola and one of you is RC and one of you's Coca-Cola, like, consolidate.
I disagree.
No, it's about sacrifice. That's what relationships are all about.
When my wife, whom I love, and I got together, moved in, started navigating all of those various differences, what I used to say all the time is like, she likes regular thick spaghetti, and I like angel hair pasta. So we compromise and get the thick spaghetti. And that seemed to be about how most of those conversations went.
Now,
I like this. Oh, well, I like this. So that's what we're doing.
Now that's that side. What about the wife that you don't love?
She will eat the angel hair pasta and like it.
Is it a weight thing? A texture thing?
I think it's just what you grow up eating. That was the noodle of my childhood.
Some of us weren't rich enough to have pasta at home. But sure.
What's cheaper than a box of spaghetti? What was on the next aisle over where your mom was like, no, put it down?
It was a microwavable turkey dinner.
Oh, yeah.
Are they any good?
I'll give them a whirl. This scene, more than others, is them having so much fun with just how cute and fun it is to see Macaulay Culkin do grown-up things.
Yeah. There's a moment early on when he's first coming down the aisle and he's looking around kind of in awe.
He's unsure, yeah.
And he does this fake out almost where he is about to say something, it seems, to someone, but then doesn't.
Can I share with you what's in the script? Because he has an exchange with the lady here. I don't know if they ever shot it, but it's in the script. He has a conversation with a woman.
A woman.
That's the character's name in the script is Woman. She says, pushing the cart for mommy. Kevin says, yes, ma'am. And she says, what a good little helper you are. I'll bet you'll be getting lots of swell things from Santa tomorrow morning, huh? Kevin says, you never know. She smiles and passes him. And then Kevin chimes in, excuse me, what's the stuff you put in the washing machine to make clothes feel as fluffy soft as a kitten and smell as fresh as a springtime breeze? There's a pause. And Kevin says, it's for mommy. She says, fabric softener, 2 miles over. Thank you and have a most merry, merry, merry Christmas. 3 Marys in Kevin's line there. And then he goes to check out. So there is an exchange.
I wonder if that's a remnant where he is going to acknowledge, but then realizes that he's been directed not to.
I like to think of the idea that at the end of the movie, when he tells them that he bought milk, eggs, and fabric softener, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a callback.
Yeah.
To this whole conversation of learning what fabric softener is.
I mean, we get to see detergent and milk and fabric softener in his purchases, so it kind of is.
Are there eggs on the checkout counter? I didn't see them.
There are not, but here's a weird thing that I did go way down into. So he gets some vitamin D milk off the shelf, the only kind of milk. And when he pulls it off, I saw that it was priced at $1.14. And I paused to see what the difference was between the $1.14 and $1.19 that was right next to it, which looked to be the same size containers, to see if this had been shuffled or anything in any way. And the label was for a dozen eggs. So it was $1.14 for a dozen eggs. But it is interesting because a dozen eggs and a gallon of milk track pretty close to the same price.
Yeah. And here they're only a few cents away. It's interesting to think that maybe they did do a little grocery rearranging for the sake of shooting the scene. Like they wanted him to stop at this moment for lights or whatever, but the eggs were there. But they just shoved them over to the side and threw the milk.
So given that info, I went one step further and looked up the average price of a dozen eggs
now we're talking.
In the state of Illinois in 2024.
Okay.
So that is your quiz question for today.
Okay.
A dozen eggs in 1990, $1.14. In 2024, what do you think?
In all of Illinois?
It's the average price in the state of Illinois.
Okay. Dozen eggs. And we're just talking regular old eggs, not like, the name of the chicken that laid it.
These are not artisan eggs.
Okay. I'll go 489.
Holy smokes.
Am I way off?
482.
Whoa, I'm overpaying.
By 7 cents. That's incredible.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I do the grocery shopping.
If Pete Holmes were here and he were doing Price is Right rules, he would be a stickler and say, you went over.
He wouldn't do that to me. Maybe he would.
I'm not sure why I'm picking on him right now.
Yeah, I love Pete Holmes. This episode of Home Alone Minute is sponsored by Magic Mind or some other weird thing.
Kachava. I will +1 him on Charlotte's Web.
What is that? Just the book?
It's the CBD oil.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's weird that he's like the Gwyneth Paltrow of white dudes.
His holistic approach is a little bit more grounded in reality, though.
All right. I like him. It's fine. Maybe we should get some of those Pete Holmes endorsed supplements, kind of dial up the energy around here. Or maybe we shouldn't record it midnight.
I'm happy to stick with just all the brands that we see in these shots. Five Alive, Ocean Spray, fun. Tropicana, Minute Maid.
Oh, yeah.
Duraflame.
Love
Wonder Bread.
Yeah.
The Kraft macaroni and cheese that we later see. I'm getting ahead of myself. I do it every minute.
The Wrap It cling wrap plastic film.
Snuggle, Tide.
Yeah.
And the doctor who's on the ad.
Yeah, and like the mechanics, the service station.
Yeah, do you think we could get sponsored? Like do an ad read for Doctor?
See, that's what I want. I want that logo on a coffee mug, and people go, "What's that?" Oh, you never seen Home Alone? Oh, is that like the company on the side of the van? The burglars? No.
Wait, who are Runfelt and Belmont?
Oh, it's this movie I like called Home Alone. Oh yeah, I'm very familiar with it.
Like very familiar.
So you've heard of Runfelt and Belmont, the service station, advertised on the shopping cart that Kevin's pushing in the grocery store?
Dr.
M.B. Lawson?
M.B. Lawson, that's right.
Here's my quibble. I don't know if did you get yours out?
Can I go ahead and apologize for taking so long and meandering so much post-quibble?
No, that's what we do here. Here's mine. Kevin's sort of rounding the corner and like coming to check out. And I get the emotion of the moment of he's a little unsure about interacting with an adult. Last time he did this, he set up an elaborate speaker system to not have to talk to the adult himself. So he's a little trepidatious. I get that. And she's a little skeptical of what she's seeing.
Yep.
An 8-year-old boy coming to check out some groceries by himself. It just goes on a beat too long. Like she gives him that like curious look, and that curious look goes on too long. It cuts back to Kevin, and he's like sort of like, just swallowing and pushing through, and it goes back and she's still got that look. It's just a beat too long for me. This minute could be 59 seconds.
I think this is a Home Alone minute switcheroo because I feel like this time, unlike most times, I'm going to be the one saying, oh no, you need that for this cinematic tension to build up.
I agree that we need some of it. Just pacing wise, I think Raja's a little off the mark here.
I think it's perfect. Like I feel it, and it taking as long as it does builds the anticipation and the tension like to the right level. I love it. I think it's perfect.
All right. Agree to disagree.
Yeah, little role reversal where today you are the utilitarian.
And you're wrong.
Somehow I'm always that one.
Regular spaghetti noodles for you. I also love that Kevin's reading a magazine.
I tried to peek and rewind a bit to see what he was reading, but I couldn't make it out.
You can't see the front. You can see the ad on the back. You can see the different magazines that are on display as he's entering.
Yeah, we've got 2 issues of Holiday Crafts.
Mm-hmm.
Holiday Appetizers.
Is it Country Living? Is there a Country Living there too?
It is another home one, but it's not Country Living. It's, I lost it.
It's something like that.
Traditional Home.
Oh, yes. Thank you. I love that he's emulating something that he's clearly seen his mom do. I also like that bygone era of this is going to take the checkout lady a minute here. So let me grab a magazine and flip through a few pages.
Can you imagine going to self-checkout and like reading an Archie?
Has the technology improved so much that they can go so much faster now? Where that doesn't seem plausible?
I think just everybody's in a rush these days.
Go, go, go.
Make a buck. Make a buck. Even in Brooklyn, it's the same.
Part of it is the customer-facing credit card terminal that we have now, where we have work we can start doing while she's checking out.
Right.
Now we can read the chip and we can say yes, accept the total, and we can type in our phone number for the rewards or whatever. We can do all that ourselves. So we have work to do while she's checking out. Whereas Kevin has to wait until she's done, hear a total, and hand her cash.
I also think we do more trips with smaller amounts.
He's not getting a lot of groceries, though.
I just mean on average, like when we're talking about the pacing generally.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So in that time, some 35 years ago, people were doing full carts, overflowing. They're doing their grocery shopping. And just the time it takes to get through that is, I think, a big contributor to the average transaction time. Whereas now people are going more frequently and getting fewer things.
That's definitely my situation. Working with a grocery store in between me and my house. Real easy to just stop in for like tonight's needs over and over.
Yeah, so even if technologically and culturally everything is exactly the same, if everybody has quite possibly 10x as many items, then you get used to every person taking a bit of time.
And grabbing a magazine while you wait.
Yeah.
Kevin's not just staring at his phone. You know, we used to flip through the magazines.
That's such an astute observation that we had it then.
We had it right.
No, we had what people are scoffing at now then. Because that's what flipping through a magazine mindlessly is.
For sure. So I saw someone on the internet kind of juxtapose the image of like everybody on the subway these days, they're all staring at their phone versus what it looked like, 50, 60 years ago. And they're all in the newspaper.
Yep.
They're all got their heads buried in a newspaper. We haven't changed as human beings. It's not like 60 years ago, we all just sat around and learned each other's names and hobbies. We had newspapers.
Well, it's also not zooming out far enough. 50, 60 years ago isn't that long ago.
Well, yeah, sure.
Like hundreds of years ago, it was materially different.
Yeah, we all just stood around the harpsichord and really got to know each other,
Oh, big hair. That's my last one.
This is some very 1989 hair for sure.
I wouldn't mind seeing some of that hair come back.
Really?
Yeah.
I will say that
some. I did say some.
Some of it has come back onto the heads of adolescent males.
That's not the part I wanted back.
A good 60% of all white males that I teach have the same dirty blonde perm, and I cannot tell them all apart.
Yeah, that weird perm thing, not quite mullet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's not what we wanted.
Do you have trauma from going to the hair salon with your mom?
I mean, yes, but can you be more specific?
Just waiting and waiting.
Oh.
And the smell of a perm. Like, there's just nothing to do. There's not like a little corner with some video games or toys or even like a highlights magazine. Like, it's just nothing. You're lucky if there's like an empty chair they let you like roll around in. But you just sit there and the whole space stinks of that perm chemical stench, and it's just awful.
But then you get that time with yourself so you can sit there and think about what you've done.
I haven't done anything wrong. I don't deserve this.
That's what you would say.
Yeah. Clearly it's it's a thing that affected me more than you.
Yeah, I did not have that. My parents both went to get haircuts without me.
I got dragged. It was hair salons and then like going to the mall and being there for like 8 hours. That happened a lot too. And I still don't like hair salons or shopping malls. So I feel like I'm going to be stuck there forever. And Sally's hair brings me right back. I can smell Sally's hair, you know?
Just to be clear, the hair that I want to bring back is behind Kevin when he's checking out.
Okay.
It's not Sally's hair. Sally's hair can stay 35 years ago.
On Sally.
Yeah.
It's a bad outfit, too.
I think that's so she doesn't get too chummy with the customers.
She can't have all the male customers that walk in falling in love with her, so they got to ugly her up a little bit.
Yeah, because at the time she had super trendy and stylish hair, so...
We got to make her look like she's wearing a Christmas box. It's all boxy and apron-esque. I don't know.
It does look like she's wearing an apron on her apron.
She's got a double apron situation. She like wandered over from some other Christmas movie. She's like a Babes in Toyland character.
Oh, was she in that Pete Holmes movie?